So that being said, our lore today is on the Shroud and the Mistress. Do you have anything you want to say about either?
I literally was thinking about that same quest today. I mean, like, that's the only one that I remember us doing and enjoying.
Yeah, I remember being really into it, but I remember the holotapes being like 9 to 15 minutes long each one.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was this point. I think it's one of the holotapes that you find during like the beginning when you just leave the vault. There's a little motel. You remember the little motel?
Yeah.
And there's like a weightlifter guy who's I think German, and he's like in America to sell weightlifting equipment like phonily.
Yeah.
I know it's not a word, but like in a phony pretext. That one I remember sitting there going, "Oh my god!" But this one is I remember so the Silver Shroud, a fictional character in the pantheon of characters made by Hubris Comics, a mysterious vigilante, patrols the streets of Boston, regaled in his trademark long black trench coat and a silver scarf with a black fedora and a silver Tommy gun. Sometimes accompanied by his former love interest and common combat collaborator, the Mistress of Mystery. And more on her later. He is considered to be one of the most popular characters within the Hubris Comics line of comics and characters and whatnot. He's just as big next to Grognak the Barbarian. Even though the Silver Shroud is very popular, it's almost only in Boston and like nowhere else. So pretty much imagine like if the entire state of New York was really into Iron Man and nobody else was.
Yeah.
Which I think is wild. And I don't know if that's just supposed to be like, I don't know if that's like Fallout 4 writing or if that's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you can hear, if you've played Fallout 4, you can hear the radio plays of the Shroud. And that's one of my favorite parts of Fallout 4. And when I first did the quest, I did it in a way where when it's over, no matter how many times I rebooted it, I couldn't do it. You couldn't continue to hear the Shroud after you were done the quest line. So starting up a new game of Fallout 4 and hearing the Shroud is always kind of like, ooh, I forgot about this. The radio plays, the only known recording of these plays is his fight versus the Mechanist. And then I just wanted to read directly off the wiki the summary of the plays. So real quick, the radio play, the summarization, and I get all of my lore off of fallout.fandom.com, is the Mechanist story arc is divided into 6 parts. It begins with the murder of Mayor Murphy and Scholarly? I don't know how to say this. Scholarly? Do you know, Boston is like Pennsylvania, where they just make up the way things sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it's pronounced Scully. So Mayor Murphy and Scully Square. The Silver Shroud and the Mistress of Mystery kill a pair of thugs responsible for the murder, only to be forced to flee to the Mistress's hideout after Fatty Fahey, again, only to be forced to flee to the Mistress's hideout after Fat Fahey, a local crime boss, wounds the Shroud in a confused firefight. When he happens upon the scene, although the Shroud recovers from his injuries, the duo decides to infiltrate Fat Fahey's operations to learn of his role in the mayor's death. After all, nobody casually struts through Scully Square in the middle of the night. Disguising herself as a bar girl, the Mistress convinced one of Fahey's gangsters to lead her into the boss's hideout. Once there, she and the Shroud try to interrogate the ruffian, great word, only to be attacked by a horde of mob bots. There we go. Remember that episode of Futurama where Bender joins the mob?
Yep.
and clamps. There's a line in there that always kills me where he's like, he has the British accent and he's calling everybody like Old Bean and he goes, "Excuse me, Old Spice." It fucking kills me. I don't know why. They emerge victoriously after a desperate battle. Fat Fahey turns out to be a robot. The intrepid duo tracks down his master's location with the help of the damaged mob bot, who craves revenge on his maker. They find the mechanist at the pier in Boston Harbor, speaking to an army of robots and planning the wholesale destruction of the city. I love the way that's put, the wholesale destruction of the city. The Costco size amount of destruction before they can. You get 2 hot dogs incredibly cheap on your way out. Boston destruction of the city. Before they can act, however, they are caught by the robots, suspended over a pit of fire. They are freed by the vengeful robot who gnaws through the rope. The mechanist attempts to use the Silver Shroud's gun against him, but the bullets bounce off of his trench coat, mortally wounding the villain. In the closing scene, the mechanist is revealed to be none other than Mayor Murphy, who faked his own death in order using the robot made to look like Murphy to fool the observers. After explaining his motives, he requests medical attention, only for his request to be denied by the Mistress of Mystery, who mocks him for not taking into account the Silver Shroud's punishment towards evildoers. Much to Murphy's confusion, the Silver Shroud then proceeds to kill Murphy with his submachine gun. So there's obviously, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, Kyle. There's obviously a lot of parallels to Batman in this. I like how instead of Batman, one of my favorite Batman quotes is, if you kill a murderer, the amount of murderers in the world is still the same. And he's just like, yeah, fuck it. He's just like, yeah, kill them all.
It's interesting, too, because, like you said, the Shroud was only, like, Boston only, but they had the Mechanist. So wouldn't the Shroud gain more of an attraction outside of Boston? Because the Mechanist did.
That's what I'm saying, because, like, it doesn't make sense. It's very, like, Bethesda writing.
Yeah.
Of just, this is, and, like, I love, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. I love these games, and that's why I'm critical of them. I don't just let everything slide. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the Shroud showing up in past games, in 3 at least, because Captain Cosmos shows up, and I'm like 98% sure Captain Cosmos is a Hubris Comics character. But Grognak is in... there's a Grognak... what do you call it? There's a Grognak game that you can play in Fallout 3, like a text adventure. I think it's in the Hubris Comics destruction area that you can fast travel to, or the Bethesda ruins. I don't remember. But just some notes, some fun facts, quick, and some behind the scenes stuff. Also, Kyle, I don't know if you're on the wiki or not, but like the Silver Shroud in the Fallout Shelter Online version, the artwork is amazing.
Oh, I can imagine.
They don't give him, what do you call it? A silver scarf. They give him a red one. And like the artwork is signed. It says "Best Wishes, Silver Shroud." Like you went to a con and got it signed.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have that one on screen somewhere. I'll probably have the calling card on screen as well. I'm saying it now, so I do it. And I really like the quest of the Silver Shroud, where you go and you find people and you gun them down, and then you leave the calling card on them. That's a fun quest.
Yeah, the ending was. I reloaded that freaking part.
I couldn't get it. Couldn't get it to work. And you know me, I always do charisma builds. Couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
Some quick notes and behind the scenes. If disguised as the Silver Shroud while speaking to the Mechanist, they will refer to the sole survivor as the Shroud. Hancock will emphatically like the sole survivor using the Silver Shroud's speech options while he is a companion. The Silver Shroud has a butler named Jarvie Blake. That's cool. What's Alfred's last name? Pennyworth, right?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I guess that could be like Jarvis.
Yeah.
The Silver Shroud costume can be purchased in the Atomic Shop in 76 for 800 atoms. So the thing that's already in the code You can buy with real world money. The character, this is behind the scenes, the character of the Silver Shroud was created by Bethesda designer Emil Pagli. As an Italian, it hurts me that I can't say his last name. Emil, who also wrote all of the Silver Shroud radio plays in Fallout 4. In character, Soul Survivor dialogue as the Silver Shroud was done by Ferret Boudon, who also implemented most of the Shroud quest. I love that you can just wear the Shroud clothing and talk as the Shroud.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. The Silver Shroud bears resemblance to the 1930s pulp hero The Shadow. Both characters are stealthy vigilantes, further sharing similar costumes, weaponry, and catchphrases, and starring as radio serials. Have you ever listened to The Shadow?
I have not, but I know about him.
Okay, so I had a therapist that when I told him I was doing a podcast, and I kind of told him what it was about, he was like, "Did you know of The Shadow?" And it's like, The Shadow. Let me find, if I click on The Shadow, I bet it'll take me to like the exact quote. But here it is. The introduction line from the radio adaptation of The Shadow is, "Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows." And the Silver Shroud's catchphrase, or at least the one that you say during the end of that quest line, is, "Death has come for you, evildoer, and I am its shroud." Which is pretty fucking cool. And he says it in the episode too. But like, I like these little callbacks. There's also like, obviously Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Batman started in the 30s. The Batman in the animated series looked like it was in the 30s. The animated series, is that on HBO?
Yes, it is.
Dude, I gotta watch it again because it's so fucking good. It's so good.
It is really good.
So that's the Shroud. Anything you want to add on the Shroud, Papa?
Yeah, I think that's like my favorite part is the Shroud stuff.
Yeah. If I play Fallout 4 again, which I started it, but we never went back to it because I was playing it with a friend. If I do it again, I'm grabbing the Shroud's costume and I'm not taking it off.
Yeah.
Unless I make a strength build and I go with Grognak, but I'm not going to do that. So the Mistress of Mystery, both her and the Shroud are both a part of the Unstoppables. They're kind of the Fallout universe's Justice League or the Avengers. Actually, since we're here, let me find out who's in the Unstoppables. I remember talking about them at one point, and that might have been when we've done Hubris. The Unstoppables is a group formed by the Silver Shroud, the Mistress of Mystery, the Inspector, Manta Man, and Grognak the Barbarian. And if I remember correctly from that episode, Manta Man, nobody likes. He's supposed to be like Aquaman, obviously. But yeah, I like that there is this little like separate universe that exists within it. And if there's anything I like that the newer games have started doing, it's building the world up more. Yeah. Like the world around the world of the pre-apocalypse world. And stuff like this, like Blast Radius, I'm trying to think of other games and whatnot that they have. I like that it adds that more allure to it. If that's the right word to use. Anyway, the Mistress. She's part of the Unstoppables, like I said. Her weapons of choice are a 44 revolver called the Voice of Set and the Blade of Basset. She is sometimes accompanied by an unnamed sidekick who relies on kicking. So here's my sidekick who kicks. Yeah. I also like how the Mistress and the Shroud are partners or a crime-fighting duo, not all the time, but sometimes, and it wasn't that they just said, all right, let's pick a kid who's just like, remember that show Young Justice? Mm-hmm. Did you ever watch that?
Nope.
Neither did I, but they were all it was like Teen Titans, but sidekicks.
Yeah.
She is adorned with a black evening gown, several different styles of white collar, black heels, and long black gloves to match. She's, like we said before, I mean, at least in my opinion, probably one of the better quests before they added voice acting to 76. She also has a device called the Phantom device that it's essentially a stealth boy that she uses to get away with. In game, the quest line is about how the actress kind of took on the role of the Mistress. That's why it's so good. And like they turned her basement or the lower level of her house, I guess the basement, kind of into a bat cave.
Yeah, and then she had like a school or something.
Yeah, she like took in a bunch of girls, and her and her husband were like teaching them how to become other mistresses of mystery. It's a really, really, really good quest line, and it sucks that it's in a game that I feel like not everybody's gonna play. Mm-hmm. But it again builds the world out. Her radio voice actor was a woman by the name of Shannon Rivers, who was also poised to portray the hero on the Silver Shroud television series produced by Aaron Babawitzk. Same producer replaced her with Charlie Reddle, but the Great War prevented any filming. In addition, a Mistress of Mystery television show was in production, also cut short by the Great War. Shannon and her husband Frederick survived the war and founded the Order of Mysteries, based on the ideals of the fictional hero. The Order members were herself, her daughter, and many other orphan girls. They each wore and used recreations of the hero's equipment developed by Shannon's husband. That's so, like, imagine just a little, I think every kid, I mean, I'll do it sometimes, and I'm a grown-ass man, thinks, like, what would Batman do in this situation? Mm. And, like, just to be like, these people were faced with the end of the world.
Yeah.
And they just said, what would a comic book hero do? And there's also like the idea of, hey, here's a familiar character. Outside literally looks like hell right now. But here's this comic book character that you and I both know and you and I both like. And we can take some solace in that and think, the world's gone to shit, but we can still be the heroes we deserve to be and that people deserve, and we can help people. I really like that. I really like this uplifting ass story. That being said, I play all of my characters as bad guys. Cool. There's no real notes or any backstory things or like behind the scenes things on her, Papa. If you'd like to add anything, now is your time. I do have a question for you before we end, though. But if you'd like to add anything, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really fun when we played in 76. And that was the only fun.
Do you think the Silver Shroud has a car, like a Batmobile?
I think he does.
What do you think it looks like? Like think about the Fallout universe. Do you think it's as cheesy as, oh, it's a chromed out this? Or do you think it's something like...
I think it's just like something chromed or dark. Just a regular vehicle.
I kind of picture, what's the car from the Black Beauty from the Green Hornet?
Yeah.
That's what I picture.
Yeah.
Just a boat. Just a big ass Lincoln. Like just something huge. And like the grill and probably the hood ornament is like the Shroud. Maybe like him with the Tommy gun or something, or like a symbol of him. And it's got like those doors that open like a Rolls Royce and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.